My dear child, you've been hoping things would turn out differently, holding on to a particular outcome, a specific answer, a certain way forward that you've convinced yourself is the only way this can work. And you've been waiting, praying, believing that if you just hold on long enough, if you just have enough faith, if you just stay positive, it will happen the way you want it to. Dear heart, I need to tell you something, and I know it's not what you want to hear. I wish I could give you the answer you're looking for. I wish I could say yes to what you've been asking for, but I can't. Not because I don't care, not because I'm withholding good things from you, not because you haven't prayed hard enough or believed strongly enough, but because what you're asking for isn't what you actually need. And I love you too much to give you something that would ultimately hurt you, even if right now it feels like exactly what you want. I'm sorry I have to tell you this. The door you've been pushing on, it's not going to open. Not because it's locked from the outside, but because I'm holding it closed, beloved. I know how much you wanted this, how much you've invested in it, how much of your hope, your energy, your heart, you've poured into making it work. I know you've tried everything, you've done all the right things, you've been patient, you've been faithful, you've believed when it was hard to believe, and still it's not happening. And you're starting to wonder if something is wrong with you, if you're being punished, if I've abandoned you, if maybe you don't deserve what you've been asking for. None of that is true. You're not being punished, you're being protected. You're not being abandoned, you're being redirected. You're not unworthy. You're being prepared for something that what you're holding on to would prevent you from receiving. My child, I know this feels like loss, like rejection, like the end of something you weren't ready to let go of. And in some ways it is. But endings, even painful ones, are not always tragedies. Sometimes they're mercies. Sometimes I close a door not to punish you, but to save you from walking into something that would have broken you in ways you can't see yet. You've been so focused on what you want that you haven't been able to see what it would actually cost you. The relationship you're trying to hold on to, it's draining you more than you're willing to admit, more than you let yourself feel. You keep telling yourself it will get better, that if you just love harder, if you just give more, if you just wait a little longer, things will change. But they won't. Not because change is impossible, but because this particular situation isn't meant to be fixed. It's meant to be released. And I know that's hard to hear because releasing feels like failure, like giving up, like admitting you weren't enough, but precious one, you are enough. This isn't about your worthiness. It's about alignment. Some things aren't meant for you, not because you're lacking, but because they're not part of the path I have for you. And when you keep forcing something that isn't aligned, you're not just delaying your peace, you're blocking your growth. Dear heart, I'm sorry I have to tell you this. The job you've been waiting for, it's not coming. Not because you're not qualified, not because you didn't work hard enough, but because there's something better waiting for you in a direction you haven't looked yet. And if I gave you what you're asking for, you'd settle. You'd stop searching. You'd build your life around something that was never meant to be your foundation. I need you to keep moving, to keep exploring, to stay open to possibilities you haven't considered. But you can't do that while you're clinging to this one thing. So I'm closing the door not to hurt you, to free you. Beloved, I know you're tired of waiting, tired of hoping, tired of the uncertainty. You just want something to work out. You just want something to feel stable. You just want to stop wondering if things are ever going to get better. And they will. But not in the way you're imagining. Not through the path you're currently on. There's a turning ahead, a shift, a redirection. And it's going to feel uncomfortable. Because change always does. It's going to feel like loss before it feels like gain. Like ending before it feels like beginning. But I need you to walk through it anyway. Because on the other side of what you're afraid to release is everything you've actually been longing for. Not the surface want, the deep need. The need to be seen. The need to be valued. The need to be in a place where you're not constantly fighting to prove your worth. You won't find that where you're trying to stay. You'll find it where I'm trying to lead you. My child, I'm sorry I have to tell you this. The timeline you had in mind, it's not going to happen that way. I know you've been counting on it, planning around it, building your expectations on it. But the timing you wanted isn't the timing that serves you best. You're not ready yet, not because you're inadequate, but because there are things you need to learn first, things you need to experience, things you need to release before you can hold what's coming. And I know that's frustrating because you feel ready. You feel like you've been ready for a long time. But readiness isn't just about wanting something. It's about having the capacity to sustain it. And right now, if I gave you what you're asking for, it would overwhelm you. It would stretch you beyond what you're equipped to handle. So I'm slowing things down not to torment you, to prepare you, to give you time to build the foundation that will hold the weight of what I'm building for you. Precious one, this delay is not a denial, it's a deepening. A space for you to grow in ways you wouldn't grow if everything happened on your schedule. And I know it's hard to wait when you can't see the purpose, when it feels like everyone else is moving forward and you're stuck in place. But you're not stuck. You're being grounded, rooted, strengthened. And when the time comes, and it will come, you'll be ready, truly ready, not just eager. Dear heart, I'm sorry I have to tell you this. The person you're waiting for, they're not coming back. Not because they don't care, not because you did something wrong, but because that chapter is over. And I know you've been holding the door open, hoping they'll walk back through, hoping things will return to the way they were. But they won't, because the way they were wasn't as good as you remember. You've been romanticizing the past, focusing on the good moments, forgetting the pain, forgetting the compromise, forgetting how small you felt. And I understand why. Because remembering the hard parts makes the loss feel more bearable, makes it easier to let go. But you haven't been ready to let go, so you've been rewriting history to justify holding on. But beloved, I need you to see the truth. That relationship, as much as you loved it, wasn't bringing out the best in you. It was keeping you small, keeping you uncertain, keeping you in a cycle of giving more than you received. And you deserve more than that. You deserve to be chosen, to be celebrated, to be in a relationship where you're not constantly wondering if you're too much or not enough. And you won't find that by going back. You'll find it by moving forward, by releasing what's behind you, by making space for something new. I know that feels impossible right now, because you can't imagine anyone else filling that space. But you don't need someone else to fill it right now. You need to fill it yourself. You need to rediscover who you are apart from them, what you like, what you want, what brings you joy when you're not shaping your life around someone else's needs. And that discovery, that reclamation of yourself, that's sacred work. Work you can't do while you're still tethered to what was. My child, I'm sorry I have to tell you this. The version of your life you planned, it's not unfolding. The career, the family, the milestones you thought you'd reach by now, they're not happening the way you imagined. And you're grieving that, even if you haven't named it grief, even if you've been trying to stay positive, to focus on gratitude, to tell yourself it's fine, it's okay to grieve, it's okay to acknowledge that this isn't what you wanted, that you're disappointed, that you feel behind. Those feelings are valid, and I'm not asking you to pretend they don't exist, but I am asking you to hold them gently without letting them define you. Because your life not looking like you planned doesn't mean it's less valuable. It just means it's different. And different can still be beautiful. Different can still be meaningful. Different can still be full. But only if you stop measuring it against a script that was never meant for you. Beloved, the life you planned was based on what you knew then, on what you wanted then, on who you were then. But you've changed, you've grown, you've been shaped by experiences you didn't anticipate, and the person you are now needs a different life than the one you planned before. A life that fits who you're becoming, not who you used to be. And I'm making space for that by closing doors that would have kept you in an old version of yourself, by redirecting you towards something that aligns with who you actually are, not who you thought you should be. Who you are, precious one. I know this is hard. I know it feels like everything is falling apart, like nothing is going right, like you're losing more than you're gaining. But what if what you're losing was never meant to last? What if those things, those relationships, those plans, those expectations were scaffolding? Temporary structures that helped you build something. But now the building is done, and the scaffolding needs to come down. It served its purpose, but if it stays, it will block the view of what's been built. So I'm removing it, piece by piece, even though it's painful, even though it feels like loss. Because what's underneath, what's been built, that's what matters. And you can't see it yet, not fully, but you will. When the scaffolding is gone, when the old structures have been cleared away, when you're standing in the open space of what's actually true, you'll see it. And you'll understand why I had to take away what you thought you needed. Dear heart, I'm sorry I have to tell you this, but I'd be more sorry if I let you keep building your life on something that wasn't solid. If I let you keep investing in something that wasn't for you. If I let you keep hoping for something that would have hurt you. I love you too much for that. So I'm intervening. Not with cruelty, with kindness. The kindness that says no when yes would be easier, but ultimately harmful. The kindness that redirects, even when it feels like rejection. The kindness that removes what's not serving you, even when you're not ready to let it go. Because I see what you can't see. I see the bigger picture. I see the long-term consequences. I see where the path you're on is actually leading. And I see a better way. A way that honors who you are. A way that aligns with your gifts. A way that doesn't require you to shrink, to perform, to constantly prove your worth. That way exists, but you can't walk it while you're clinging to this. So I'm loosening your grip, gently, firmly, lovingly, because I know that once your hands are open, once you're no longer holding on to what wasn't meant for you, you'll be able to receive what is. My child, I know this message is hard. I know it's not what you were hoping to hear. I know you wanted me to say yes. It's all going to work out exactly as you planned. But I can't say that because it wouldn't be true. And I've never lied to you. I'm not going to start now. So instead I'm saying this. It's not going to work out the way you planned. But it is going to work out in ways you can't predict. In ways you can't control. In ways that will surprise you. Not because I'm arbitrary, but because I'm intentional. And my intention for your life is greater than your imagination. I'm not asking you to understand it all right now. I'm asking you to release what you're holding so tightly. To open your hands. To soften your grip. To make space for something new. And I know that feels terrifying, because letting go feels like losing control. But beloved, you never had control to begin with. You've been holding tightly to the illusion of it, thinking that if you just plan enough, work hard enough, believe hard enough, you can make things turn out the way you want. But that's not how life works. That's not how I work. I'm not a formula. I'm a relationship. And relationship requires trust, not control. So I'm inviting you to trust me, even when you can't see where this is going, even when it feels like everything is unraveling, even when it seems like all your hopes are falling apart. Trust that I'm still here, still working, still guiding. Trust that this ending is making space for a beginning, that this loss is creating room for gain, that this redirection is leading you somewhere better than where you were headed. You don't have to see it yet, you just have to trust it. Precious one, I'm sorry I have to tell you this, but I'm not sorry for what comes next, because what comes next, once you've grieved what's ending, once you've released what's not for you, once you've made peace with the redirection, it's going to be good, not perfect, not painless, but good, in a way that fits you, in a way that honors you, in a way that allows you to be fully yourself without apology. And that's worth the loss. It's worth the waiting. It's worth the uncertainty. It's worth the grief. Because on the other side is a life that's truly yours. Not the life you thought you wanted, the life you were made for. And I can't wait for you to step into it. But first you have to let go of what's behind you. So take your time. Grieve what needs to be grieved. Feel what needs to be felt. But don't stay there. Because there's more ahead. More than you can imagine. More than you've dared to hope for. And I'm walking you toward it. One step at a time. Even when the path isn't clear. Even when it feels like you're walking away from everything you wanted. You're walking toward everything you need. And I'll be with you every step of the way. Amen. Beloved family, if this message spoke to your heart today, and you feel led to support this ministry, the link is in the description and comment box. Your kindness helps us continue sharing God's word.